What's your snapback? Alright, tell you what. You heard the boss is recruiting all those Beast Snaggas? Yeah, I didn't like it. You what? Why? There's something not right about them. They all look the same. Nah, you just need to try a bit harder. Ain't that right, Snaggas? Yeah, Tara, that is correct. We're as all beautiful and individual as a snowflake or fingerprints. See?
Hello, Sydney here, and welcome to the Drunken Ork. Well, the Beast Snaggas have been out for over a week now, and if you're one of the few lucky enough to get one of the boxes, you might have already built your Beast Snaggas up. Now, recently, I've built up the Beast Snagga Boys. Got a little bit sidetracked with some Death Dread projects, as I have a want to do. But I built up my 10 Beast Snagga Boys, and then I looked at the other 10, which were the same as the first 10. And I thought, no, this will not do. I'm going to try and kitbash these second 10 into something different. So what I've got here is, I've got a little slideshow of the 10 Beast Snagga Boys with their equal counterpart next to them, and with the changes that I've made to try and add a little bit of variety. It's not much I can do with the body itself, but arms, head, shoulder pads, that sort of thing, there's a little bit of scope with. So anyway, let's have a look and we'll see what you think. Easing you in slowly with the first pick. So he's just the same body, although as you can see it's not the same front of the body, but this is the legs, essentially, the back of the body, which makes the knob, the Beast Snagga Boys knob, boss knob, and also the that's the boy on the right is the one who was touted as the the first Beast Snagga. Now on some of these models, I'll say now, there's still a little bit of cleaning up needs to be done on the mould lines and what have you. As you see on the back of the chopper and just under the barrel of the slugger there's a little bit of that still to be done. I know that. But there you go. The only thing I changed really, apart from the standard here, was to change the standard here. The pole for the boss knob, I changed that to a skull, a cattle skull, because I'm doing my Beast Snagga Boys as goths. So yeah, nothing much more to say about those. Give them the power snapper arm as well, because it's cool. Now this is the lad with the thump gun. Now I don't want to run a thump gun. I just think it's too swingy for the points, ballistic skill 5 and all that. So instead, with the original model, I give him the chopper, and as you should be able to see there, instead of the chopper being in a closed position held across his chest, I've got it angled out more, as if he's gesturing with it. I just didn't want it across his chest, being more difficult to paint. And on the right, the change, I've given him a different slugger. This one's not held quite as far behind him, because it looks like he hasn't actually got one on the left. And I give him a different chopper arm as well. Again, mould lines, God, you have to tell them on these pictures. The head, now the head I think was a hardcore minis knob head. So it's a little bit larger than a boy's head, and it's certainly a lot larger on a Beast Snagga's head. So he does look a little bit like a Whopper Napper or a Harry Helverheed. So, you'll have trouble buying hats, but I'll be totally honest, it doesn't look as big in the model. When you're looking at the model, it doesn't look anywhere near as big as it does on this pic. So I did actually pull the head off and look to change it, but then I thought, you know what, I put it back on again. I thought, no, it looks alright in the model, so I kept it. But I just think it's different enough to the original. Now this is the running one, and there's not a great deal you can do with this. I've swapped out his shoulder pad, so he's got a different shoulder pad there on the left. I've also obviously swapped the head. That's another hardcore mini one. That one's boy size, so it actually is a really good fit size wise. And he's got a rose in his teeth, and I don't know why, but I don't care. I quite like it. If I decide to get rid of it, I can almost just snip the stem and the head of the flower off, and it's quite a nice orc head anyway. But I'm probably going to keep the rose in, to be fair. I've been calling him Romeo in my head, I don't know why. So he's got the same pistol, because that arm was moulded on, it wasn't an arm you had to stick on. So I've left it with the same pistol, but like I say, I swapped the head up, and I've given him a different arm as well. I just wanted to give, if with things like this there's not a great deal you can change, I've tried to give him his different chopper as possible. So there you go, that's that one. I was thinking as well about maybe trimming the spines off the back, maybe on one of them, but I might just leave them on because, you know, they are different enough, and if I paint them differently, that should be fine. There we go with this one. Again, that's on the left as the original. On the right, I give him a different arm. I give him a bionic arm with a slugger being held in a less fiery position. And the arm, although you can't really see from here to be fair, is a standard boy's arm with the chopper that looks like a bloody stone sword. I just like the look of it. And I had these heads, I don't know, I had a boatload of those heads, I don't know, I think I got them for free. And they're all identical, so I've used one of them here, and it's just a hooded orc head. I think it might have been Cromlech. And I just think that looked quite cool. And with the fact that he's the only one who's got like a sword chopper as opposed to an axe chopper, it just makes him look a little bit more sneaky. And I haven't thought of a name for him yet, but he's a kind of sort of like, you know, he slopes around. I think he's got the same shoulder pad. The shoulder pads, a couple of them change out, but not a lot of them. Just play around. If it's exact, swap them over. If it's close, a little bit of trimming and you can generally get away with it. There we go. Now I quite like this one. The left one, it's a good pose. He's sort of saying like, you know, let's have you, come on, come on, come on. You know, he's offering you on. But on the right, swapped out the arms, both the arms. Give him a different shoulder pad. That's actually the other boss shoulder pad. Just fit perfectly onto him. And yeah, give him a boy's head again, goths, so I can get away with a horny helmet. And I think that pose is just fantastic. It's mint. He's not as full on offering you on like the fella on the left. He just looks like he doesn't care. He stood there, somebody's going to get it. You can see that the detail on the boy's head on the right compared to the Beast Snagga boy's body it's on, the crispness of the detail is quite a bit more on the newer kits, which is to be expected, to be fair, but you don't realise how, not blurred, but how indistinct some of the lines were on the boys kit compared to the new one. The detail on them really is superb. There we go, is another one the same? They're all the same, what am I talking about? But here I swapped out the chopper, again swapped out the circular saw blade chopper for a chain axe type chopper, give him a different slugger, this is another bionic arm one, and give him one of the Mohican heads. I had quite a few of these Mohican heads knocking about, and I like to sprinkle them in, just a little bit different, but at least with this, you've got he's sort of standing there on the right, just sort of, you know, preparing, whereas on the left it does look like he's barreling into someone. So there's enough difference there, I feel. Right. Now, it's another whopper napper. Right. Again, it doesn't look like his head's as big in real life than he does on this pic. But that's a knob head. Again, I went with the horns because I'm going to run them as goths. And he just looks quite cool. It looks like he's sort of striding. Well, they both look like they're striding forward. But again, I swapped out a shoulder pad on both the arms and the head, of course. The slugger is, I wanted to use a different slugger basically. So I used a knob slugger as well, the one with the drum fed magazine. And yeah, it is quite cool looking. I think, you know, again, same pose, but they are different weapons, different arms, different head. Even though it's a massive head, and we've seen from space. Hopefully it'll not look as bad when it's all painted up. There we go, these fellas. There's not a lot you could do with this either, but I think the raised chopper arm is moulded to the body. So I swapped out the shoulder pad and the slugger arm. Obviously the head. Again, went with a big Mohican Cromlech head. And you can see the size difference there between the new heads and the old heads. And I know obviously that's a third party head, but it's pretty much in scale with, you know, with the boys kits. But I did cut his hand off. Did I cut his hand off, or was that? No, I'm sure that whole thing's moulded on, the whole chopper, but I cut it off and replaced it with a different forearm and chopper, just to again try and break up the pattern a bit. I think it's worked alright. This one again, very similar. Couldn't replace the shoulder pad with this one, but did replace the choppers. The arm is slightly rotated. It's actually a different slugger arm, although if you look at the two sluggers side by side, as I'm doing now, they're almost identical. It looks like two artists have drawn the same gun, and there's a slight difference. One of them's got a hammer at the back, the other one hasn't, but it is different different arms. You can tell by the van brace on them and what have you, and the scars on the arm. But two different arms, two different chopper arms, following roughly the same position. Although I do think the one with the Mohican head on the right actually looks like he's aiming a bit more. His head is leaning over the gun sight a bit more than the fella on the left, who's just got his head alongside it. So, you know, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better. You know, what I did. False modesty. And there we go. Again, raised arm, that was definitely moulded in. Changed the slugger arm. Didn't change the shoulder pad. Stuck a different head in it. And I actually cut this one just below the wristband on the raised arm and rotated it. Just turned it just a few degrees so it was more upright as opposed to being held above his head. Again, just to try and break things up. So, like I said, I've got a few mould lines to clean up on these, and well, truth be told, at this point in the recording, I've already cleaned up the mould lines on them, and I've given them a prime, so I'm ready to start painting. So there you go, I hope you like them. I think it's a good idea to do that. None of it was particularly tricky. I did use a little bit of green stuff just to fill gaps. And a big shout out to the crafting troll for this. Don't forget to dip your tool in some moisturiser. If you are going to be working with green stuff, makes a world of difference. I mean, I can't even explain how much easier it is to sculpt. And I use a water-based Nivea hand cream. And I use it in such small amounts because I've just been doing little bits. It's okay to just prime on top of, I've found. But if you are using an oil-based one, such as Vaseline, it's best to, you know, give them a good wash in soapy water before you prime them. Otherwise, the paint might just come off. You don't want that. But yeah, a little bit of green stuff work. Other than that, it was just cutting, and in some cases, not even cutting. Just going, yeah, that's a close enough fit. Bit of plastic glue, wedge it in, give it a wiggle. As it's setting, give it a bit more push, and any little gaps will just fill themselves in. Afterwards, you can go around with a craft knife, an X-Acto knife, whatever you want to call it, and just, you know, shore up any squidgy bits of plastic which have squeezed out. And the shoulder pads, most of the joints did seem to be under the shoulder pad, like I say, so that covers up the majority of it. So you know, you could probably get away without the green stuff in most cases, but it's not a bad idea to try and add another string to your bow and get used to using it. And there's no reason to have 20 Beast Snagga Boyz with duplicates, or 30, or 40. I mean, I can see people run 60 of them. I can see them taking over from the standard boys. For 2 points more, getting that extra point of strength, the 6+ invul, and the +1 to hit against vehicles and monsters. It's wobbling again. This camera, sorry, it's got a life of its own. I think all that is for 2 points. That's not a bad deal, really, is it? So I can't see them taking over. If you're going to use Slugger Chotter Boys, why not use the Beast Snaggas? If you're going to be running bad moons and you want to be doing shooting, fair enough. Fair enough. You might want to, you know, stick with shooters. But for my Slugger Choppers, which were Goths, I'm going to be doing Beast Snagga Goths, I think. At least one unit of them. Because that's strength 6 on the charge. Exploding 6s in combat. All them benefits I mentioned for the Beast Snaggas. It's too good to miss. It's too good to miss for 11 points a model. So yeah, that's it. Get kit bashing. Get cutting. Get creative. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, take care. Hello there. Sydney here. Oh, you dirty git. Hello, Sydney here, and welcome to the Drunken Ork. How wobbly is that? Ah, we're in an earthquake. As a simple country boy. And a big shout out to the crafting troll who advised us that when you're working with green stuff, your tool can get sticky, and it's always best to use some moisturiser. Don't forget to moisturise your tool. Oh God, I'm not going to get this out. Fuck's sake, son, you're in your 40s, however.